Hello friends, family and other creatures, welcome back to a game of StarCraft 2. Today we have Clem in the top right as our red Terran player versus Astrea in the bottom left. And we see the first Reaper already popped its way over to the other side of the map. What was that? A little bit of a dancing move there coming out of Clem. I think Clem already figured out what's going on though. No, he didn't actually. Needs to be somewhat careful to not get caught by that adept, but knows his limits. And will be capable of jumping out of here with a mere, what was it, 15, 14 HP remaining on that Reaper. It's important that the Reaper stays alive for a couple of reasons. The one reason being that the Reaper has a family and friends. They would like him to stay alive. But perhaps the more important reason, rather than some emotional garbage, is that you want to force this adept to stay at home. So really you do a good deed in two ways. First of all, the Reaper stays alive, his family happy, and second of all, the adept, you know, gets to stay at home because he can't go across the map as there's still a Reaper, so also stays close to his family. It's just a very wholesome story when the Reaper stays alive. Sure, the adept would like to get the kill on the Reaper, but then the consequence for that adept is going to be that he'll be sent to his death on the other side of the map. So one can doubt whether he really wants to, whether his heart is really in it. Sometimes I feel like these adepts underperform a little bit in these type of situations as well, and now you know your reason. Anyway, Reaper is going to dive in once more. That's interesting. The reason that's interesting is because it's really not necessary. You basically have all the information. The only confirmation you're going to get right now is whether it's a Dark Shrine or not, but that's not all that important because you're going to rush out a Raven majority of the time anyway. I guess what this does do is give a little bit of space for that Hellion in the natural, and four workers going down total with 2 scouting units. That's a lot more than Clem usually gets, so a nice start here for our French Terran player, who's currently on 32 workers against the 37 out of Astrea, 4 minutes into the game. Raven on the way, tank is on the way as well. We see a bunker coming down. I guess it's on the low ground. High ground bunker not really necessary. The reason for that is that, well, we see very fast tank production here for Clem. Skipping the mine drop, instead straight away opting to go for a tank after the first Hellion. So whenever we think of when tank production starts in Terran versus Protoss, we usually measure it with how many factory units get built before the tank. And we're usually thinking of the 18-second factory units in that case, so the mine and the Hellion. Basically any unit that gets built before a tech lab unit gets built out of the factory. And this time it was just a single Hellion. Very often you see 1 Hellion, 2 mine, so that would have delayed this initial tank by another 36 seconds. Because this tank is so fast, I think Clem feels, well, honestly pretty confident in not needing a bunker on the high ground because this tank is already out. Sometimes you even see a second tank being constructed, but that is not quite the case here. Clem instead is going to stick with the 1 tank and will send this Raven across the map. That is interesting because in the past Astrea has shown a lot of affinity to the basically blink into Colossi build with a fast 4 gas. Now if you keep your Raven at home versus that, and you push out with the Raven with your main army, get a couple of good interference matrices off, life is going to be fantastic as a Terran player. Somehow, some way, Clem figured out though that this was going to be something else, and not into that fast Robo Bay, and thus gets to send the Raven across the map. Is going to get feedbacked, is going to receive some feedback, and isn't going to be too happy with that feedback because it removes every bit of energy on the Raven. That means that auto turrets will not be quite as easy to use anymore. Well, practically impossible because there is no energy. Now, of course, another feedback could be used here later on, and the Raven will forever just be stuck there, not capable of leaving and never capable of getting more than 35 to 40 energy before a feedback will appear. This is a relatively fast push, by the way, and we can see that as well, as there's really not all that much around for Astrea. Charge is about to finish up. Storm isn't actually going to finish up in time. And at the same time, we do have combat shield already. First 2 medevacs making their way across the map. Tank gets into a pretty decent position. This is largely a marine-based army. 2 marauders were pretty low in health. One of them went down already. Storm is going to finish up, and that means that we'll have a Psystorm available. Raven will get to the 50 energy. Should allow Clem to actually go in and drop a turret somewhere, if he remembers that that Raven is still alive, of course. That's another, well, a requirement for using it, really. Mine's going to burrow up. Stim here. It's a very big stim. Immortal's going to take a big chunk of damage here. Mines will try and connect with as many Zealots as they can. Do a decent job of that. Target fire with the tank on the Templar. Templar gets taken out, but Storm hit a couple of these Marines at least. Astrea falling very low right now when it comes to the supply. Still have this Raven as well, and I'm curious why Clem isn't quite using it. Okay, here we go. Does get sent in, and we'll see maybe 1-2 workers being taken out. There we go. 2 more workers being taken out by this Raven, and brings the total up to 4. And Clem does not want to give up this push. He says, hey, I have a lot of pressure on you right now. I kind of want to continue that for a little bit longer. Starts boosting in towards the main base. Ooh, no. Gets spotted and decides to just take out that adept instead. I'd love if Clem just sends a couple of units towards the far left, seeing if there's any pylons on the map. Because pylons are often a good indicator of, well, being spotted if you see a pylon. So if you can take out pylons, Protoss feels way more in the dark than they ever really should be. There's no storms available here. Both of the Templar with Storm are in the main base. A bit of a mistake here out of Astrea, who's now going to be stuck in his own natural. Moving towards the third is going to cost him a couple of Zealots as there's mines in between. The Storm is going to hit on top of those Marines, and Clem will have to evacuate. Ghost Academy is being thrown down here. +1 on the way. And this seems to be heading into a well, more of a mid-game focused kind of army here for Clem, with not the greatest upgrades. Ooh, 2 Zealots will get taken out here by this little Bioforce that's still on the map. 2 more Zealots make their way towards the far left side, hoping for any type of potential run-bys, maybe. Perhaps wanting to go in towards that natural base. Would not want those to be sent in immediately, though. And usually the thing that Clem likes to do here, in this type of scenario, is push out with Ghost. While the push out is happening, you get the second T-Bay, you get the armory, as well as the fourth base. Now, it can be built over here, can be built over here. You can also try and build it on location. That obviously wouldn't really work, because there are 2 Zealots there. But this is just kind of the Clem standard. So he really maximizes for a timing here with Ghost. It's not going to be with Enhanced Shockwave. It's going to be a bit of a +1 Ghost timing. Try and hit some of these EMPs on the Templar. And yeah, there we go. Then we get a command center, and right now Clem is just going to be powering up on infrastructure and setting up for a potential 2-2 push. Oh my god! That storm, I think, lasted the entire duration. You see an absolute bloodbath over here. Marine limbs just, well, disappearing in the snow right now. This blood will remind us of what happened here. Armory has finished at this point. This fourth base is going to get cancelled, and this, game theory-wise, I think, is actually the entire goal of this push. If you can kill your opponent, that's great. But often you're not really looking for a kill, you're just looking for a cancel on the fort. It allows you to get your own fort base up while you're getting good upgrades, and then you can set up for a massive push with 2-2, and then you start adding in Vikings and so on. That's exactly what Clem does here. Ooh. 3 racks as well as a second starport. I mean, it is definitely affordable if you go up to 7, maybe even 8 gases. Storm once again is going to hit. Clem's army is relatively, red and yellowish, semi-orange, some units. So I think this army does need to heal up a little bit before it can truly engage. Another stim will really cost it dearly. It also isn't the biggest force that is over here. We still have some supply at home. We have a couple of mines sprawled around the map. We have another 5, 6, 7 supply over here. So there's just like 25-ish supply that's not really in the army right now. You do notice that. This is not, well, the largest army that I've seen in my entire life. 2-2 on the way for both players. I think Astrea is going to be slightly faster when it comes to that. Does not have a single disruptor out though. And this is kind of the way that PvT tends to flow, is where Terran tries to hit timings where they get the correct composition to counter the Protoss composition. Deny a fourth base, deny a fifth base, maybe take a winning fight. And Protoss always wants to be ahead of the curve, basically. So right now, we see Vikings are out to deal with the Colossi. EMPs are out to deal with the Archons, to deal with the Gateway units. And of course to deal with the Prism, with the Templar as well. But these Templars get some pretty decent storms off. Immortals dishing out a lot of damage as well. This fight could have been a whole lot worse for Astrea. Those 2 storms really changing the outcome of that battle. This army once again extremely deep into the red. Medevacs are not quite running dry, but they're running a little bit low on HP, so need to be repaired in the near future. Overall, not the worst fight here for Clem, but did not really manage to get that type of damage that perhaps he had wanted. Colossus Immortal, 3 more Templar on the way, and our first Disruptor coming out as well. The one issue I often have with Disruptors is that they're really difficult to split them up. They're not like Colossi. Colossi and Stalkers you can just split up into an army, but Disruptor, they just get better if there's more of them in the same place. So it makes splitting Disruptor armies a lot more difficult, which is why most Protoss players love getting up to 2-3 Colossi, a couple of Immortals in there as well, units that are easily splittable. For now though, not going to be the biggest issue, as Clem is working with a bit of a one group army, just a massive death ball of Terran units. EMP is going to hit. None of these Disruptor shots are hitting, though he can attack up a ramp into a super battery though. There is a storm available on this bad boy, so might force this to kite back, then hit the storm from the back. Exactly what happens here. Big blanket there with that storm. Also hitting a couple of these medevacs. I really think these medevacs need to get repaired. You're just gonna start losing 4, 5, 6 medevacs at the same time. Sure, Clem does have double starboard, can reproduce them quickly, but medevacs are really, really expensive. Yep, there goes another hit with a storm. One medevac does already die. Maybe it even was 2. Didn't quite catch that. There's only 4 remaining, and there's only 1 which is more than half HP at this point, basically. Which definitely is not ideal. Oh, a couple of snipes coming down. Templar as well as the Zealot, I think, got taken out. EMPs will largely miss. Is an enhanced shockwave out yet? Yes, it is. Then we have this army on the left side. I think took out a pylon over here. Don't think there was anything else quite yet. Single Zealot. Fusion core on the way here for Clem. So Clem's going to continue kind of getting a big army and wanting to fight with that army in one go. Aggressive scan. See a couple of Colossi being added here. Right now we have 0. So it's always good to have some Colossi at least in your army. So I do appreciate that happening here. This feels like this army should be kind of kept together, but I don't mind that it's being split up right now. Usually the more Vikings there are in an army, the harder it is to kind of split properly with it. But Clem is making do for now. Good splits. Only loses a single Marauder there to 2 Disruptor shots. All of these Disruptors are very empty. Vikings are useless in this fight. Well, not completely useless. When Colossi shows up, is going to die immediately. Glad you joined the party, but the party for you, my friend, is over. It's bedtime, and God, did Clem put that Colossus to bed fast. Many apparent is going to be quite jealous of that skill. Decent pickup as well, gets to go away. Still feel like there's more potential here on that left side than there is on the right side. Right side, very Disruptor heavy, relatively powerful gate army as well. You either need to go hard there and kind of come from 2 angles, or you just go on this kind of left side army. Double expanding Astrea is going to try and get some of these bases up. At least one of them kind of needs to go up in the near future. Colossus could be pulled back completely as the Vikings will snipe it. 0 Colossi out once again. Now we see a Liberator transition coming in, which makes a lot of sense. A couple of feedbacks on these ghosts. This is a very good fight here for Astrea, I think, actually. This is a really good fight for Astrea. It's going to push this back. Does need to have something ready on the left side. Is going to have something ready on the left side. Disruptors are already moving over. Super Battery gets activated as well. Blink back. There's not enough medevacs for real sustain here in this push. One more mine. Poof. Going to hit the Archon. Needs to move this back as well. Ooh. Get a storm over here. New command center is going to be landed. We're actually working off a complete split map at this point. At least from Clem's position. He's going to take his 6th and final base. For Astrea, he just managed to get his 5th up and running. 6th base still over here, kind of empty. He tried taking it earlier, but just struggling getting those bases up. These Disruptors are by themselves, or were by themselves. Need to be careful, of course. Like 6 Disruptors by themselves can defend a whole lot, but they can also die quickly. It's not a... There's no backbone to a Disruptor, you know? You push it and it falls over. The right side base ideally gets killed here. Interesting blink forward. Wants to kill a lot of these Liberators quickly. Not the greatest Disruptor shots. That means that Clem might be capable of getting a bit of a minor win here. And in this case, the minor win is just going to be keeping this base alive for a couple of extra seconds. Left side Super Battery gets activated. We see a couple of feedbacks hitting those ghosts as well. That means that this army gets to stay healthy when it comes to the shields. And we're going to see these rocks taken out. 78 worker supply here for Clem against 75 of Astrea. Neither player extremely high. Usually we see Protoss go a little bit higher these days. And I guess Astrea just has been struggling getting these side bases up. And it shows really in the current bank as well. Misses one shot there on the sensor tower. Should get repaired by Clem. It's not going to happen most likely. Clem busier with different things. Liberator's moving forward right now. EMP is going to hit in a big way. +2 ship weapons have also finished, which means that these Liberators are going to be absolutely bananas. As the drop is heading in towards the main base. A couple of Stalkers are going to get warped in right now, right over there, but... that actually is just going to be fine. At the same time, an attack on the right side. This is where Clem is shining, of course, is that multitasking, the ability to basically fight in two fronts at the same time. 10, 12, 11, 14, 15, 16 workers will get taken out. I would love for him to dive on all of these workers. Decided that defending basically the backside position was a little bit more important, and might agree with that. I mean, killing workers is, well, actually, if he kills these 15 workers, or what is it, like 7, 8, 9 extra workers, you're going to be fighting against a 48 worker Protoss. That's not a whole lot. I actually believe he could have probably done that. Okay, let's zoom this one out. Liberators are in position. This looks to be an okay fight though for Astrea. So he's just kind of going to push through. Not all supply of Clem was in position, and all of Astrea supply definitely was in position. So he's going to kind of crush this fight. And with the army supplies being heavily in favor right now of Astrea, there's a possibility of Clem just straight up losing the game. He's going to definitely lose this planetary. Don't think there's anything at all that Clem can do about this. Clem is getting quick reinforcements to this position. Don't think he should be getting any type of defensive fighting going here, though. That for sure is a mistake. Do not want to be throwing away your units one by one. You want to wait till you get a big chunk of a bio army and then go again. It's still 71 workers against 56. Astrea struggling to get any type of eco going, and thus reinforcements are slow as well. At the same time, Clem is trying to keep all of his bases alive. His worker count still is high, but for how much longer? A couple of disruptor shots going to hit. 10 workers go down. Those Liberators coming out? Yep. 3 Liberators are being added here into the mix. There's not a single ghost in this army right now. 22 workers have fallen, so we're working with 49 worker supply against 56. Woo! Oof. That's a lot of supply there in things that aren't workers then, because the work supply isn't that high. Both players currently on 86 supply, 86, 84 is what we're seeing. Astrea actually the one that is first to re-expand towards the 6th bottom base. Left side is safe for now. There's very little vision on the far left though. This really is potential for like a double medevac attack to deal so much damage. There's no real defense. I mean, you're working with 4 Stalkers, no battery, no cannon, no nothing. Nuke is going to get activated here. We'll have to wait and see what Astrea is doing to this. Does he see it? Oh, he did see it. Up. Nuke is going to land. Do we have any other nukes available? I don't think we do, right? No, we definitely do not. Nukes are a lot stronger if nothing is happening at the time, or if something is happening. Now Astrea had so much time, and Clem staying at home with all of his army definitely helped Astrea out there. Liberators being set up, a couple of EMPs will hit. I don't quite think Astrea can push into this position. Well, I definitely do not think Astrea can put in this position. The Observer is worth its weight in gold. To be fair, Observers are pretty light. I mean, they fly. Actually, not everyone that flies or everything that flies is really light. There's some pretty heavy birds. You would not want one of them big eagles to sit on you. I bet it's proper heavy. Ooh. Airplanes also fly. Those are heavy. I would not want an airplane sitting on my shoulder. That'd be very difficult. Okay, what do we have here? A little bit of a ghost army. This is kind of the move I was talking about earlier, and back then it seemed like it had a lot of potential. Right now, he's gonna kite this back, and that's nice, putting some pressure here on the left side. Definitely allows for perhaps more movement on the right as well, right? Like I mentioned before, these split armies for Protoss are almost always worse than split armies for Terran are. Both players on 6 bases, low worker count still. Means that if they lose something, it's going to be difficult to replace. I'm not saying this is going to be a one-fight game from this point on, but there is going to be a fight most likely that is going to pretty much change the outcome of the game. Or decide the outcome of the game. Liberator in the back, dealing a little bit of damage. 5 Stalkers get warped in. Very calm game. Let's take a look at the first person here out of Clem. See what he's doing. Averaging about 400 APM. Both players, by the way. Clem seems very focused on slowly but surely kind of advancing this position towards the entire right side of the map, while keeping an army on the left. So the moment Astrea pulls everything back and maybe wants to put a flank on his army, he'll still have that army there. He sees Astrea move in right now on the left side. I'm mainly focused on this bad boy. Liberators are being taken out at a rapid pace. Only now starts looking at the fight on the left after it's mainly been, well, destroyed, honestly. Was this an okay fight though for Clem still? I think it might have been. Supply still somewhat even. Did not lose too much. Clem sending in a single lib right now. The problem that Clem has at the moment, honestly, is the vision that Astrea has of certain positions. And I'm mainly talking about this one. And this to a certain extent as well. Astrea just has such good vision of where the army kind of is moving. Or good understanding of where the army is moving, or more where the army isn't moving. That it's relatively easy to defend. So this one Templar here might actually get a couple of storms in later on. Storm is going to hit a lot of these SCVs. Clem with a quick pull away. We have one more storm. Not so sure if this base is going to end up dying. I don't think it will. That's painful. It was an important base for Astrea to kill. 12 workers will end up going down. Double disruptor shots. Going to get big connections here. And that actually was somewhat important as well. That actually was very important. Every single time you take out something like that in a full base, split map scenario, it's it's just big. It's money you're never gonna get back. It's not like Clem is outmining his opponent, you know. If they keep staying this kind of stable, you're playing this type of stable game. Yeah, life can just be hard. Look at this hidden Templar. Clem's gonna send a squad there to kill it probably. Same time, left side. I can't believe Clem is defending this entire left side with like a ghost, 3 Marines and 2 Marauders. It's like one of these Christmas songs. On the first day of Christmas, Blizzard gave to me 1 ghost, 2 Marauders, and 3 Marines, 4 Liberators, 5 SCVs. Nah, nah. I think it goes down usually though in the Christmas song, doesn't it? Rather than going up. And then it always ends with, and a brand new SCV. Press the button as well there. Let's pretend that didn't happen. I don't even know which button I pressed. Felt like I pressed the spacebar there. Didn't know spacebar did anything. I don't want to press it again to try it though. No, it's scary. Ooh! I thought that this Templar was taken out a long time ago, but apparently it wasn't. Clem is going to continue pushing forward. Now wants to EMP a bunch of these disruptors. Takes one out immediately here. Left side army for Clem also growing. Clem can actually probably push forward here, can't he? I believe that he can. And if I believe that he can, then probably Clem will also believe that he can. Once again, he's going to try the march of the Liberators on the right side as well. He's a lot of libs here. He has 16 Liberators currently. I think there's 4 or 5 on the left side. That means there's 12 here on the right. Yeah, he should take it slower than last time. Last time half of his libs weren't in the fight. He really should go in big chunks. So just the moment the frontal ones are sieging a position, the rest should also join there. Tempest coming in right now will try and help out. A couple of Vikings here though will kind of tank that initial couple of shots. And now Clem is in a position where I don't think Astrea can fight ever, like whatsoever. Tempest are here, but Tempest take a long time when it comes to taking out Liberators. They're quite bad at it. Still have one Templar here on the bottom side. Yeah, look at this Tempest. He's like tickling basically. Tries to blink in towards the far back. Now we have this army coming back home. This will be the trigger for Clem to kill that left side base as well. So Clem is most likely going to get 2 base kills here consecutively. Might end up losing a lot of these libs. Look, right now he sees this army come back in and immediately pulls the trigger over here. Astrea basically forgot about the army on the left side, and Kisada is just going to lose there. At the same time, I don't even think this is that great of a fight for Astrea. I mean, Clem is going to get a lot of units back home. These Liberators dealt some fantastic damage. Left side base gets taken out. Right side base, well, at least the probes stay alive, but that is not everything in the world either. Final Tempest might even fall as well. Yep, there we go. And, oh, this army is actually going to continue attacking. Astrea at 98 supply is pretty much dead all of a sudden. It felt like he almost defended, and now you look at it and it's like, well, he did not really defend, I guess. He just died. That is it against Clem, you know. You make one mistake, or you're out of position once, and he just pounces on you, and he's never gonna let go. He's like a crocodile. Once a crocodile has you, he barrel rolls you, and then he's just gonna start eating you slowly. I'm not actually sure if that's what crocodiles do, if they eat you slowly or fast. I just know that they barrel roll you. Oh my god, that disruptor shot was pretty big. 12 kills on a fresh disruptor. That guy had the shortest lifespan and also did a lot in his very short life. Sometimes you have like these movies about like an athlete that, you know, won like 7 World Cup series or whatever. Also won the Super Bowl twice. And then he died when he was like 18 or something. It's like, holy crap. The guy achieved more in 18 years than I ever will in like 5 lifetimes. And it's pretty impressive. It's the same with that disruptor with the 12 kills. It's not gonna matter though, as his mates weren't quite as successful in their short lives. And I think this is a fight that Clem actually is going to end up probably winning the moment reinforcements come in. We have a couple of Vikings joining the fray as well, liberating them back, providing so much value there. Just one-shotting Stalkers that have been EMP. GG well played gets called as Clem wins this game here on the Inside and Out. Fantastic little game. That is going to be it for me today. Thanks all so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Thank you, and bye-bye.